Today we'll be tying a winter version of the popular Copper John stonefly nymph. We'll be using the Allen D101 hook along with a black nickel tungsten ball bead. Start your thread right at the hook bend. The hardest part for me on this pattern has always been adding in the biot tail. One of the tricks is to get the biots back to back so they bend away from each other, as you can see here. Set them so that they're about 3/4 of a hook shank long, and then pinch them against the shank and tie them in. Err on the side of longer, since you can pull them to get them to the right length. However, if you tie them in too short, you'll crimp the biots and you'll ruin the look of the fly. Once you have your tail tied in, bring your thread forward about 3/4 of the way up the hook shank. Do not trim the biots free, as they're going to become the wing case of the fly. Next, tie in a wire of your choice. Here I'm using medium wire in a burgundy color. Tie in the wire all the way to the point you've tied the biots in, and then bring your thread back to behind the biot bases. Now, wrap the wire forward with touching wraps. Especially with smaller sizes, make sure that you're careful around your hook point, as it can break your wire. Bring your wire to just in front of the biots and tie it down. Now, take a couple strands of flashabou and tie it in behind your biots. Take several wraps of your thread in front of your biots, creating a small thread dam to prop them up. Now, take several pieces of peacock herl, which is going to become your thorax. In this case, I'm using a dyed black peacock herl to match the darker color of this particular pattern. Don't tie in right at the base of your peacock herl, as it's too stiff there. Go about 1 inch to 1.5 inches up the peacock herl where it starts to become a bit more supple. Trim away the base of the peacock herl. Now, spin your peacock herl together and wrap it forward. Be careful in this step, as it's very easy to break your peacock herl. Tie down the tips of your peacock herl and trim them free. Now, to create the legs of the pattern, I'm going to use the webbier portion of the base of a black dyed pheasant feather. Preen back your fibers until you get to the webbier portion, and then trim off the tip. Figure out just how much you want to use, and then pull off the remaining portion. Now, to get your length correct, figure out how long you want those fibers to be, preen the fibers back, and then tie them in. Then, bring your biots down over top. Don't trim away this base until you've got this part set. That way you can adjust the length of those legs. Bring your flashabou forward over your shell back and tie it down. Trim your materials free, and then whip finish. For the final step, I'm going to use a bit of my favorite thick UV material to finish the shell back. Once I've applied a teardrop of that, I'm going to make sure I like the shape of it, and then I'm going to lock it down with a UV light. And there, you have a winter version of the popular Copper John nymph. Here, I've tied it with a pretty sparse thorax. I can also tie a version where I use lead wire under the thorax, creating a bigger thorax and a heavier pattern that's going to drop a bit quicker.